Our neighbor crossed the line. What legal options do we have? Apologies for the length. I am rage crying right now, and just the act of typing this up is helping. My husband and I live in a small college town where our housing is very expensive. As adjunct university professors, we truly lucked out by getting to rent half of a nice duplex for an insanely reasonable rate. This is possible because our half of the duplex is owned by a good family friend, who gives us an affordable rate out of the goodness of her heart. This living situation has allowed us to begin building our careers and stop living paycheck to paycheck so we could start a family. We now have a beautiful 5-year-old, who is autistic and nonverbal, but also happy, healthy, and smart. We love her so much. The other home in the duplex is inhabited by Kara, whose mother owns that half of the building. Kara has always been quiet and pleasant, and while we don't know her well, we've always had friendly exchanges with her, and she's been a good neighbor. Kara has had a hard life, a bad marriage, some legal troubles, and we have always just figured she had some unfortunate obstacles in her life, and we're glad that she was enjoying a quiet and content life with her pets and garden. For about 5 years, we've gotten along well and had no issues. Unfortunately, Kara has lately developed an unhealthy fixation with our daughter. People marvel all the time over what a happy girl we have. But she does have the occasional tantrum or crying fit, usually if she's tired or if she doesn't get something that she wants. E.g. like climbing on the dining room table or getting to watch more television. Typical kid stuff. Kara would hear our daughter cry from next door, usually for less than 3 or 4 minutes, and then she would calm down and started texting us asking if our daughter was okay, and if she could help. We always told her that we are fine. Thanks for thinking of us. And our daughter is over it and currently looking at a book while scarfing down a Pop-Tart, etc. Lately, Kara's texts have gotten intense. Why is your daughter crying? Is she okay? Is she crying because of something I did? Quote, which baffled us, since we don't know how she thought she could upset our daughter if she was unseen and unheard next door. Then we started noticing that Kara was writing these sorts of messages on days when our daughter never cried. The messages started changing from, "Is everything alright? Can I help?" to, "Did you give her enough water today? Are you making sure she has enough exercise? You need to do these special breathing exercises with her." It was very annoying, but we just chalked it up to neighborly, albeit nosy concern. Then last week, after I told her that our daughter actually hadn't even cried that day, maybe she heard the TV or something, Kara wrote back and said, "You need to take your daughter to the hospital right now. I can hear from her crying that something is clearly wrong with her health." I looked at my daughter right after reading that text, and she had fallen asleep on the couch after watching a Rafi video and eating an apple. She was fine. I wrote back a terse message saying that our daughter was alright, that I was sorry that she seemed to think we were neglecting our parental duties, but to please rest assured that we love our daughter and have her best interests at heart. She wrote back later asking if we had taken our daughter to the doctor yet. By this point I was over it, and just ignored her texts. She started writing to my husband more, and he was nice but turned down her offers to teach us how to parent autistic kids. She had a job in early education at one point in her life, and also wanted to give us medical advice so we could take care of our daughter better, because she worked as an EMT 15 years ago. Our neighbor is 31. At one point she texted us and said that she had a relative die from autism and being nonverbal, and she had to say something to us if it meant saving a life. Today she started texting both of us first thing in the morning, and knocked on the door twice. She wanted to give us books on parenting autistic kids, and later asked if she could take our daughter out for a walk. My husband told her no. We are keeping her bubble small because of COVID-19. We hoped that was the end of it for today. No such luck. This evening, after our daughter had been asleep for a good half hour or so, Kara texted me and said, "You need to calm down. She can't calm down until you calm down." The room I was in was silent. I wasn't even listening to music, let alone crying or causing my daughter to cry. I told her that no one was upset and her behavior was inappropriate. Not only was she reacting to things that aren't happening, she was crossing major boundaries and needed to stop. She asked me to go speak with her in person and I declined, saying I was uncomfortable talking to her, and that I am very concerned that she is hearing things. I told her she had been bothering us all day as we were trying to teach our classes via Zoom, and she was disruptive and should go find out why she's so convinced things are happening when they aren't really happening. She stopped writing to me, and then texted my husband, offering unsolicited advice to help with crying children, offering to babysit when we teach, offering to have our daughter over to help calm her down when she gets upset. And then after he started ignoring her too, wrote to him and told him that my crying, I still wasn't fucking crying, was upsetting our daughter and she'd like to take our daughter for the night. I know this might be hard for your wife and she won't like it, but you can bring your daughter over, which will allow you to take care of your wife while I care for your daughter. Will you help me separate your wife and daughter tonight, as a favor to me? Quote, my husband told her that we were fine, that her request was bizarre and inappropriate, and that she needs to stop texting us because her behavior was over the line. We are so shaken that she won't leave us alone and that she thought any of that was okay. We don't know what to do. Is anything she did illegal? We cannot afford to move, and even if we could, doing it right after our teaching started and with a special needs child, all during a pandemic, it would be hell. But we are legitimately nervous our delusional neighbor will escalate. Not to mention that I'm furious that she asked my husband to conspire against me so she could have a slumber party with my baby, since she's convinced I'm a soggy, hysterical mess who's upsetting my baby. Ironically, her words actually ended up being a self-fulfilling prophecy, since now I am crying out of frustration and stress. Who knows? If Kara hears me actually crying, maybe she'll try to break into our home to save my daughter from me. So now I'm crying as soundlessly as possible and seeking help on Reddit. Edit. This is going to sound fake as hell, but all I can report is what really happened. Right after I posted this, the doorbell rang, followed by knocking, and then another doorbell push. I can't even begin to describe how much dread and panic we felt, since it was around 2 a.m. Not to mention new levels of "are you fucking kidding me?" Quote, it didn't stop, so my husband went downstairs to tell Kara through the door that he was going to call the police, only to find that it was the police. Kara and her mom, who is visiting, called for a child welfare check. They said that we had been letting our daughter cry for days and they were very worried. They also said that they couldn't always hear our daughter cry, because we had put up soundproofing to hide her crying from them. It may sound like maybe we must have something to hide if Kara's mom is involved, but we realized that Kara texted my husband right as he was texting me after I said I wanted to call the police, and somehow he responded to her instead of me, and referenced talking to the police. Kara's response was, "Oh, I would never call the police on you." And we thought maybe she didn't realize what had happened. But now I wonder if her mom figured out one of us wanted to call the cops and then tried to protect her daughter by calling them on us first. That's the only explanation I can think of, because our daughter has not been crying for days. The police officer even told us that it was an anonymous call. But when she pulled up, there was an older woman waiting in Kara's driveway checking to make sure the police sent someone. We have had Kara muted on our phones but not blocked, since we wanted to be able to collect any insane texts she might send. The police officer was very kind and hopefully understood the situation. She was really professional and I 100% understand that she was just doing her job. We sent screenshots of everything to her. We have nothing to hide, except for some not-so-stellar housework, as we've been busy trying to prepare for the start of school. Our fridge is stocked, our child is fed and smiley, and unlike Kara, we have no jail record. But just the feeling of being investigated is so horrible and stressful. Although we understand why it might need to be done. And now we know this crazy bitch and her mom are absolutely willing to try to get our kid taken from us based on delusions. Kara's mom trying to protect Kara from going to jail again? Now that this has happened, what can we do? We do not want to see these awful women who are turning our lives upside down, but can't afford to move. We're afraid to bring garbage bags or recycling out to the cans in case we see them. If our daughter starts yelling or making some of her nonverbal sounds, I'm so worried that Kara and her mom are adding it to their list of evidence against us. We canceled all our teaching today even though it probably looks terrible to all of our new students because our nerves are torn to ribbons. And we also want to sweep, vacuum, mop, etc. in case CPS comes to make sure our daughter is okay. We can't move right now because of money, work. Can we do anything to A. protect ourselves, more than we are already doing? Avoidance. Ignoring her texts. Documenting everything. B. Get them to leave us the fuck alone. We are so tired and heartsick over the fact that someone is accusing us of not caring for our baby. Kara's previous arrests are for stalking. Is there any chance that even though she hasn't broken any laws with us, that because of her legal history her current behavior could help us get a restraining order? Start taking videos with timestamps whenever she's sending these messages trying to settle you down. Every time, show the text in the room or you and your child and show that no one is doing what she's accusing you of. If she doesn't leave you alone, and honestly I don't think she will, call in a welfare check on her. Start getting reports done with the police before she starts making reports against you. I know it's scary and ridiculous that it's even happening. It sounds like she is having a mental breakdown of some sort. If you know her mother, I would try to contact her. My fear is that she will try to rescue your daughter and end up hurting her while trying to protect her. I would not ignore this behavior and try to get her help ASAP. With COVID happening, she might be going stir-crazy and sounds like she needs help. Good luck and watch your daughter like a hawk. Keep your doors and windows unlocked. Also, if you can't contact the mother, maybe you call the authorities and ask them to do a welfare check. It really does sound like something is very wrong with her. You could just block her number. Although I realize that might also have a negative effect. Does your landlord friend maybe have details on the mother? I really feel for you. If someone was offering to take my baby, I would probably have just called the police explaining the odd situation. I really hope you manage to get through to her. I would call your police non-emergency line to at least try to file a report. At this point, she's harassing you and your family and you need to start officially documenting this with the authorities. She's shown a pattern of behavior that is escalating and may lead to her attempting to physically remove your daughter. That's not a safe situation, and you also do not deserve to be driven from your home due to her obsession. I also agree with others who say try to contact her mother or other family, as it appears she's going through some issues they may not be aware of right now. They might be able to help her before this gets even further out of hand. Definitely though, get the police involved. They can at least take a statement and file a report. Get copies of all these text messages from your phone carrier or print them if you can, dated and timestamped to show the escalating pattern of behavior. Have you talked to her mom, who she's renting from, about this? IANAL The whole time I was reading this, I felt like Kara's texts are almost a diary for child services. I wouldn't be surprised if she wants your daughter, but she's definitely creating a paper trail of when your daughter is distressed. Don't reply to her, but every time she texts, record a video on your phone for your records. Say it's 3:13 p.m. Kara has just conceded about my daughter's crying. Here's what she's doing and how she is. And just keep a record of it all. Never respond to Kara. Just keep it for you just in case. She sounds like she needs help. I would try contacting Adult Protective Services in addition to the police for a wellness check. This sounds like escalating behavior of someone who needs mental health resources. I would also start keeping a detailed log of all events, interactions going forward with timestamps, and generate as accurate a timeline of previous events as you can now. I'm not a lawyer and will defer to those that are experts on the best steps to take. However, you're getting some really bad advice about blocking her number. Do not do this. You shouldn't be responding or engaging with her. But you absolutely want those text messages. They could provide evidence down the line or immediate insight into her current thoughts. Blocking or hiding them won't change her psychology. It will just put you in the dark. But here is what I recommend. 1. Indoor and outdoor security cameras so you can document how your daughter is behaved in case CPS gets involved and have evidence if she harasses you at your home. 2. Call your non-emergency police line and file a report. This way you have a solid paper trail. Make sure you mention that she has a record and you're worried about her escalating things. 3. Do not engage with her at all. As far as you and your husband are concerned, she does not exist. You flipping out on her will do more for her case than yours. 4. For the love of God, keep your daughter inside and supervise at all times. This woman is clearly unhinged and possibly dangerous. Don't give her any opportunity or opening. 5. Totally optional, but ask your local police if they have an adult services program and see if a therapist can do a wellness check. She could just be weird and lack boundaries, or she may be experiencing a serious mental issue or substance abuse problem. 6. Take a deep breath. I know there are few things worse than being tortured in your own home, but you know you've done nothing wrong. Try to calm down and get your bearings. Good luck, and I hope you come to a swift resolution. Hi Op. But grad student at uni. Have you checked to see if your university has a legal aid clinic? As faculty, you may be entitled to seek their help, and they could help advise you on what legal steps you can take to protect yourselves. Her behavior is super creepy, but not illegal. In contrast to the other advice, I would not block her number. I would just completely ignore her. If there ever comes a time when she decides to up her crazy and report you, you're going to want to have as many texts and voicemails as you can. And not really legal advice, but I haven't seen this mentioned yet. Please loop your landlord into what's going on. You say you can't move, and that's totally understandable, but let them know what problems you're facing so they can help. They'll likely want to know the police showed up and why. You mentioned they're a family friend, so I'm sure they'll be on your side. But help arm them with your facts in case they are contacted by either the police or Kara and her mom. My fear is that she calls CPS. I think getting the authorities involved is the right course of action. I don't think this has risen to the point of harassment yet, but keep a record of all contact in the event you need to file for a restraining order in the future. Outside security cameras, especially covering the front and back doors, are not a bad idea either. This lady is having mental health issues. In my personal opinion, calling the police for a welfare check is a dangerous option. If there's a mental health organization hotline in your area, I'd call them first, possibly even Adult Protective Services. If the lady becomes violent, starts trying to break in, etc., then call 911 immediately. I'm sorry you're dealing with this, and good luck to you and your family. Does your neighbor have carbon monoxide detectors? The root cause of this could be hallucinations due to carbon monoxide. A mental health wellness check by authorities may be in order. She is hearing a baby cry when none is crying and is obsessing over your daughter. Mental health crisis team ASAP. You have a mentally ill person living in the same structure, convinced your child is in harm's way. Ultimately, either you or she had to leave to avoid the inevitable fallout. Is the cheap rent worth her kidnapping your daughter, calling CPS, or creating false accusations to police? My advice: document all. Do not engage, and get put now. You will pay the price one way or the other. Better to pay it on rent that comes with peace of mind rather than paying for it emotionally and risking your daughter's safety. Get an attorney. I hate to bring this up again, but this really reminds me of the guy with a carbon monoxide leak.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.